Hello, welcome to Firehouse Stories, where we tell behind-the-scenes stories of the fire department and people that work in the fire department. My name is Bob, and this is Doug, and we'd like to welcome Brian back to tell some of his stories. Brian was a firefighter that worked with us for many years, so we're welcoming his stories. Today we got, this session, we got stories on our first alarms are very early on when we started. So Brian, you want to start with yours?
Yeah, I started in June of 1993. 93. And they gave me 5 days off before my first shift. It's just the way it all worked out. So I was going batty. I couldn't wait to get to work. Get to work early on my first day, and engine 7. Going around the truck. I've memorized what's on this truck, but I'm not going to sit down till they order me to sit down. Right?
Yeah.
And eventually they did. They said, "Come on in and sit down for a coffee." It was about 8:30 in the morning on my first day. The tones come off for a working basement fire. I didn't even get half a coffee in. And off we go. And I think I was in the back of the truck hooting and hollering the whole way.
Yeah, you almost had a boner.
Yeah, almost. And we get there, and everything's very structured when you're in training, and it's a lot faster and a lot sort of making it up on the fly because every situation's different for real. My captain and my senior guy, they go in. No hose or anything like that. They're going to go check this out. And they just yelled to me, "Get the hose ready." So I stretched the hose up and down the sidewalk and met them at the front door. And they had already pre-planned the whole thing, working fire in the basement. And down we go. And I thought, this is it. I've died and gone to heaven. I love this job. That was my first call.
That was your first call?
That's all you got to tell us?
That's all you got?
Well,
Holy jeez.
Well, you didn't trip and fall on your face or anything?
There's a bit more to
it.
it.
Talk about size.
There's a bit.
I just for the people out there, we're looking at the size of us compared to Brian.
I noticed this in the videos.
Brian is a big guy.
No,
I'm 6'2", 220 pounds. These guys are behemoths.
We have a curved screen there, Doug. That's why it makes you look a little chubby.
No, you're not chubby.
Makes you look too chubby?
No, you.
Makes me look chubby.
Yeah, that's right.
But we gave him the small cup because he's a little guy.
Yeah, he's the little guy.
Anyway.
Well, my story with my first alarm, and I tell people this and they don't believe me, but this is 100% true. So I started up and I was downtown. I was lined up, but the week before they'd taken us around to get our firefighting clothes, like our shirts and our pants and stuff like that. But they didn't have any pants that would fit me. I had a 30 waist back then, and they didn't have anything that small on the fire department. So I didn't have a pair of pants. I showed up in jeans. And of course, I'm standing there, and of course after lunch, everybody's saying, "How come you're wearing jeans?" Now I'm starting to stand out, and it's my first day, and I don't like it, And I said, "Well, they don't have any of my size, so we're waiting to get some this week." "Oh, okay." So we went upstairs. So after lineup, you'd check the trucks over, and then you go upstairs to the lockers and you change. We had lineups in light blue shirts, and then we change into dark blues. So we're up there changing, and one of the veterans there sort of looks at me and he says, "Listen," he says, you can't be using jeans." He says, "Here, I got an extra pair of pants in my locker." And I said, "Great," but he was a 36 waist. Right? And I thought, well, okay, I can zip it up, like do with my belt, and I'm ready to go, right? So I take my pants off and take my belt off, pull his pants on, and we get an alarm right then. Now I got these big pants on, right? So I'm thinking, holy shit. So I'm grabbing the pants, I'm running to the pole, I slide down the pole. Luckily we had the pull-up boots in. It wasn't bunker gear, it was the turnout coats with the high boots. So once we got there, the captain, it was a car fire. And it was right on the middle of downtown London. It was Queens Ave and Richmond Street, right in the middle of it. And pulled it to the pump in front, and the captain gets off, and he tells me, bring the fire extinguisher. You know, I'm not, because I'm like Brian, you know, I spent half an hour down there going over the truck, so I knew whatever was on that truck, I knew exactly where it was, and it was around the back and the center. So I go around, and my pants are starting to fall down, so I pulled my boots up. Kept on running. I came around the back of the truck, and the ladder stuck out from the truck, you know, at about this high for about 3 feet. But it had this big yellow padded cover on the back, you know, so idiots didn't bump their heads on it, which I did. You know, right downtown, right?
Thanks for your honesty, Bob.
Yeah, boom. You know, went down. Anyways, I got the fire extinguisher, and he let me put the fire out. So that made it all worth it. But that was my first alarm.
Nice.
Well, my first one is I was working at Station 5, which is at the time one of the busiest stations at the time, and I had a captain who was a gruff old grizzly guy. And like Brian said, I was going over the truck because I was told, you check that truck and make sure you know where everything is on it. So I was going open all the compartments. They're all in the kitchen eating and drinking coffee and having their breakfast. So after I got where I was pretty confident I knew where everything was, I went in and I said to the captain, who was this grizzly guy, I said to him, I said, Cap, I said, I think I know where everything is. You wanna sit down? I said, well, do you want to test me? Just sit down. He said, if I ask for something and you go to more than one compartment, he said, you'll be looking for another truck to ride. Okay. So I sat down. Well, I just got seated and we got an alarm. And it was a car fire, and it was just outside of a school. So we roll up, and all the ghetto kids are all around the car, and it's on fire. And we're lifting the hood up. We get the hood up. We're dousing with the water. The captain says, here, take the nozzle. I said, pardon? He said, take the nozzle. I said, well, okay. He said, just dose the engine. He said, just hook the engine compartment down. I said, okay. I said, get away from the fence, guys. All the kids were all at the fence of the school with all their nice clothes on that. I'm going to hit this motor that's been burnt and black and everything. I'm going to put it all over these kids. So anyways, he said, hit the motor now. I'm like, well, come on, kids. He said, now, I'm not going to tell you again. So I opened it up and I just covered these kids with all this snotty black soot and everything else. And I looked over at him, there, are you happy? And he went and he patted his chest pocket. He said, I'll have to read that book someday. Well, I found out what that book was. It's a book, it was a paperback book. He always carried it around with him. It's How to Win Friends and Influence People. I don't think he ever read it right to the day he retired. I don't know. Anyways, that was my first one.
But you know what? He carried that every day.
Yeah, every day.
Every day, and I'd say probably 1 day out of 3, he'd pat that and say,
Oh,
oh
yeah.
geez, I'm going to have to read that.
He had a prop.
It was almost like his way of telling you I was wrong. I know I was wrong, but I'm going to be wrong. That's okay.
Yeah, I was wrong, but I don't care.
Anyhow.
Well, that's it for today. Thank you for tuning in. If you like the video today, please press like. If you like this and you'd like us to come to your mailbox every Friday, please press follow. And we'll see you next week.